Hello and welcome to Freedom Planet speedrun tutorial for Jade Creek as Lilac. This is a really fun stage. This is my favorite stage in the game. There's tons of cool tricks in this stage. And there's plenty of hard stuff too. This is not an easy stage to execute well, but it is super fun. It's addictive to practice. It's really made to go fast, but it's not easy to go fast. So let's jump right in. The game just shoots you off right at the start from the edge of the screen, and you can do a dive kick here. It doesn't matter. I don't think the dive kick actually adds any speed. It's just kind of flair. I didn't notice any drop in my times when I started doing it. So anyway, first thing you're going to run into here is one of these cotton ball flowers. And these will carry you until you hit the ground or jump out. And you can also drop out. They act exactly like a hang bar, except that they also move and they will move dependent on your speed when you enter them. So if you're moving slowly, they'll move slowly. If you're moving quickly, they'll move quickly. So because you entered the stage at such a fast speed, this one's going to go pretty quick and will carry you over to about here. Now, it does move slower than Lilac's base movement. So there's a trick you can do here. Let me get to the lives file. There's a trick you can do here. What you want to do is drop the so you're holding forward and right when you get there. You're holding forward and right. You're holding right and down when you get there. So you're in the correct D-pad position for a dive kick or a down cyclone. So what you want to do is, as soon as you grab the cotton ball, you want to press A twice and then turn the down and put the up, all very rapidly. So you're dropping the cotton ball immediately, you're doing a down cyclone and then steering it upwards. You're just doing a basic glide right after dropping the cotton ball. So when you enter the cotton ball, A up. And then here you want to do a boost to the right. See how there's two warning symbols, and the one on the right is in front of a bush in the background. It's next to a rock. You want to boost on or slightly before that bush. I boosted a little bit late there. What you want to avoid doing is hitting this downslope with your dive kick, or with just dropping onto it. You don't want to hit this. You want to hit the top. Oh, hi, Lilac. You want to hit this spot right here, the top of the hill. You may be right. I don't know, you wind up in that. Let me try that, in fact. I've never tried that before. You might be right. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, you're coming in at a fixed speed. You're not hitting those downslopes, so I don't think that's faster. Even though you have to go through some upslopes, I think having all that speed from the downslopes is better. Anyway, from here, also these meteors are something that I think you encounter first in this stage. The meteors will not damage you until they strike the ground. You can pass through them in the air. Once they hit the ground, then you'll be damaged. So if I go over here, if I were to jump through the meteor while it's in the air, it won't hurt me. So anyway, the goal of the first part of this stage is to get a specific speed when you hit the water, to give you exactly the right angle to go underneath the frog. There's a frog in the water. I'll show you where he is in a sec. So A up, boost before the bush, jump dive on that platform. It's got the waterfalls coming off it, and then you'll enter the water after this. I was a little bit slow, and that's because I did not land on the top of the hill and get the benefit of the downslope. So in this case, I just steer up a little bit, and you want to go underneath him. If you have the right speed, let's see if I can get the right speed now. This can be a bit tricky at first. Gotta boost earlier than the bush then. It's been a little while since I've actually done attempts in this stage. Not hitting the top of that hill. A dive kick can be helpful here. There we go. Okay, so that gives you the right angle to go directly under the frog without going up or down. You definitely don't want to have to go up here. If you have to go down because you're going too fast, if you hit that downslope with a dive kick at the end of the hill, you will get too much speed. And if you let it just keep going, you'll crash into this ceiling here. To avoid that, when you enter the water, you can tap down briefly if you know you're at that speed. Now comes the difficult part. Now that you're in the water under this frog, you need to boost to the right, and then there's a very specific pattern of movement that will get you out of the water quickly without losing speed. This is not super necessary, but it will save a few seconds. So if you're having trouble with it, you can skip it for now. The idea is to start pressing down at a specific time. Immediately after that, start mashing B, and immediately after the first press of B, start holding A. So down, B, A in that order, and when you start hitting B, you have to mash it. So it looks like this. That is how it looks perfectly done. If you get an upward dive kick out of the water, you got a little lucky. It's kind of difficult to make that happen. Oftentimes you'll get something a little bit less impressive, but still you'll ascend through the water without losing forward speed. If you happen to get that fast speed, like you get that upward dive kick out of the water like that, without losing any speed, you can do a jump from that isolated floating platform and reach the third step. That is the best you can possibly do. If you happen to lose some of your speed, or your kick doesn't actually get you out of the water, just gets you to the surface, you'll have to jump out of the water just normally, like this, and then you do a jump with a regular cycle and then 2 short hops under the frog. These platforms have some quirky physics. Like, see what they kind of do something strange here if you get too close to them. So you really want your hops to be from the leading edge of these platforms. And the beginning of this stage can really trip you up. So the first 20 seconds of this stage are a high practice priority for this. Up to the end of this water speed. Then it gets easy. The end of the screen is pretty easy. So you want to jump up here, jump, cycle and cancel, and immediately boost to the right. Just keep holding right, and start, if you boost as soon as you land on this platform, you can just start holding special. You start holding C the entire way. There's a set of crystals here, and the way your meter is filling and the way the crystals will be collected, you will hit the right amount of meter at exactly the right time if you just hold C here and then direct it upright. Then in the air, you want to dive kick right and turn the dive kick around in the air so you're moving left, which will get you to the right end of the crystals moving left at running speed. And then your meter should fill about when you get, you want to jump here and boost about at the top of this stump. This is pretty vague. You just don't want to be any further down or to the right of this hole in the top of the stump. And watch your meter carefully here, because you definitely want to be in the air. You want to be high enough in the air when the meter fills, because you're probably going to be holding C for this to make the boost happen as soon as possible. Boost upright. Dive kick off the screen. A good exit time for this screen would be 28 to 30. If you're really, really good, you can get a 26 at best, according to our current strategies. I think you can get a low 26. I'm not sure about a 25. Anyway, moving along, anything with 28 to 30 should be perfectly acceptable here. If you're not getting the dive kicks in the water, then you're probably going to get about a 30. Moving along, you want to jump from this first downslope and dive kick immediately, which will put you on the second downslope with speed. As soon as you get into the air on the second downslope, I think you can just jump here, like that if you want, and dive kick and turn around. You're going to do a couple back and forths here, so then do the same thing here. And I just run off them, like what I do, which is more consistent but very slightly slower, is dive kick off it like that. Just slow down so you get the skid animation. And then dive kick as soon as you're in the air. You want to land on this platform, jump, and then dive kick in the air about a short jump's height, like this, so that you're traveling as fast as possible through where the platform was, just as soon as it breaks. You'll enter the water, let yourself go down a little bit, but don't hit the ground. Steer back up underneath that sub, little torpedo spitting sub. That thing will shoot out crystals, and you don't want to be above it. So then you get over here. When you see this coral plant to the right, that's when you want to uppercut out of the water. You want to be near the surface when you do this. When you get to the apex of the uppercut, boost right. And you can do this with a jump too. I find an uppercut to be easier. Just press up and B, and then C in the air to the right. And you want to make sure that you clear this lip. So here is about right. As long as you do not, the one thing you don't want when doing the uppercut is to hit the roof here, which is not as big of a deal. You definitely don't want to be under here, or you'll have to turn around. Then up the ramp here, you want to jump off the wall and let the controller go neutral. Just drop the right input after you jump from about the 4th crystal, I think. Yeah. So you want to, the crystals are going to be gone now, but go neutral and jump, and then jump to the left again. And then boost in the air from here. See, I don't have meter now because there are no crystals. It's one of the hazards of not having save states to do this with. The crystals go away. Okay, so boost to the right, eat up 4 crystals, go neutral, jump off the ceiling, and then jump again, pressing left, and boost up left in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here, as you want the boost to end and air drag to kick in before you dive kick. If you dive kick too soon, you will get all the extra momentum of the boost, and you will be like here. This is what happens. No, that's not what happens. I'm too good at this, apparently. This is what happens if you are too good at this dive kick. You want to be slow, because you want your speed to stop so that you wind up down here instead. And then you want to jump off this very tiny upslope, get a full jump. And if you have the speed of, if you have all the speed of the slopes, then you should clear this platform entirely. And you want to do a dive kick down the other side, anticipating the bubbles. This puts you on a very vertical trajectory, so you should catch just about any bubble, no matter how they're spaced. And just before you hit the ground, just do a kick attack. Just press B to cancel the bubble. That'll put you, the bubble allows you to travel through this, this leaf platform, which allows you to hit the ground earlier, crack the floor to the right earlier, and gives you, like, because you're on the ground, you're traveling faster than you would in the air slightly. So you want to get to the right here, and the platform is going to break, and as soon as it breaks, dive kick, and as soon as you hit the water, boost to the right. I didn't do a very good dive kick there, but that's pretty easy timing to find. The boost here just needs to be under the roof. As long as you're in the water, you should be fine. I've bonked it once or twice, but it's very rare. The thing here is this is another spot where you're wanting to maintain water speed. And the way you do this is by knowing the geography, because it's going to come on screen very quickly. And just right here, you're just holding right, okay? When you get to the end of this platform, you're going to start holding down. You can also dive kick here if you want. I do that all the time. It's not necessary, but I find it makes it a bit easier. The dive kick wind-up, for example, gives you some forgiveness for touching this platform. You do not want to touch this platform because it will slow you way down. You want to stay above it. So as soon as you pass clear of it, that's when you start holding down. So holding right, down. Despite the fact that you're hitting these columns that are coming down into the water, you won't slow down as long as you're holding down. If you're any higher up, you would stop dead on them. But because you're holding down, you won't. And then as soon as you pass, here, as soon as you pass this formation in the background, stop holding down and just hold right. And then as soon as you pass this platform, start holding down and left at the same time, which will put you on these springs. Let's recap that section, see what it all looks like together. Uppercut at the coral, boost right, 4 crystals and jump off neutral. Jump off the upslope, dive kick into the bubble, boost right. I do a dive kick here, start holding down and left. And then as soon as you clear the water, like you can't do it in the water, but as soon as you clear the water, do a cyclone. I'm a bit late here. If you did it correctly, you should, if you get lucky, and it's not really luck, it's based on your movement through the rest of the stage, because these bubbles are on a global cycle. You might hit a bubble. If you don't, that's fine. I'll show you what to do in each situation. Okay, dive kick, turn around, hit the spring. And again, I've cycloned late, but if you miss a bubble, you would just make sure you get up to this platform with the stump, and then walk right and drop onto here. If you get the bubble... see, now I'm... Let's just start over. First screen isn't that long. I'm not as familiar with where the checkpoints are in this stage. All 3 times I've gotten the best pattern on those dive kicks and gotten the best jump out of the water. Okay. Jump, dive kick into the bubble. If you hit the bubble, I canceled it early, but you would want to follow it all the way around and drop onto this breakable floor. Then, no matter how you hit this breakable floor, when you drop, you clear the ceiling, boost to the right. You can dive kick down if you want. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't give you any extra speed or cancel air drag since you're moving downward. See the hills in the background with the dandelions coming out of them? There's going to be a big one here, then there's going to be a smaller one, and then a tiny one. You want to jump dive at the tiny one. Or maybe a little after the tiny one. Let's see how this works. I can only do it fast. I can't do it with pauses. Yeah, okay. So then after the jump dive, you would immediately jump and get a cyclone cancel to the upper platform. Like that. Then you want to just do a jump up into this cotton ball, and then after you've hung for a bit on the dandelion seed, you want to jump to the next one. And then you want to jump out of it. And if you draw, here, let me get the cursor. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. So you can see my mouse cursor. This cotton ball center, if you draw a 45-degree diagonal above that, you want to be below that diagonal when you boost, just a little bit. So see how Lilac is not exactly on the diagonal. She's a little bit below it. That will put you on the underside of that curve. Put you on the underside of this curve. From there, a very specific pattern of movement. When you get out of the second cotton ball and boost, as soon as you strike the wall, you're going to be holding upright, okay? As soon as you strike the wall, switch to down right, press B, then let go of the D-pad entirely until you fly up in the air. As soon as you start flying up in the air, hold right. So you're boosting against the underside. You're going to start by holding upright to get the boost angle. Switch to down right, B, let go of D-pad, and then right as soon as you fly clear of the floor. What you're doing is you're getting a ground cyclone on the underside of this thing with the down right and B. Then you're letting the D-pad go neutral so that your right input and your down input won't interfere with your starting trajectory off of the underside. And then as soon as you're in the air, you want to start the right input so you will clear the ceiling to the left. And that is what will happen. It's really, really cool. This is one of the coolest tricks in the game. I believe it was found by Yuki. I'm not sure. It's very, very, very fast. It's much faster than any other way to get through here. It's really easy to screw up at first. You really need to have a good idea for the rhythm of what both your hands need to do as soon as you strike the ceiling, because you have very little time to get everything off. So you're switching from upright to down right, then B, then let go of the D-pad, then press right, all in rapid succession. So practice this a lot. There are alternatives to this movement pattern, however, and there's a few of them. They're a lot slower, but I'll show you them anyway. Right here, like if you stand about where this leaf is, or between the leaf and the bush, or maybe even on the bush, do a high uppercut and a cyclone. If you cyclone as close to the spring as possible, as close to hitting the spring as possible, as early as possible without missing, then you will fly up high enough to reach this platform. If you miss it, you can, if you think you'll be low, you'll be too low, you can do a ceiling run there. It's not a hard ceiling run to do. But you have to be early enough. Okay, so that's the ways to get up here. The ceiling run with the cyclone fly is pretty difficult. There are plenty of errors that you can make. If you didn't hold right soon enough in the air, you will hit this ceiling. If you held right or down too long, and you had them held down when you left the floor, you will hit this cotton ball. If that happens, you want to kind of hover on it, like jump back and forth on it a little bit like this, and then do a diagonal boost up through as soon as your meter fills. Your meter is going to take a little while to fill, though, because you just used it to hit the ceiling down below. If you are too late with the B input, you will get a dive kick. You will fly up and you'll get a dive kick in the air. You'll come back down to this platform usually. And if you are too high when you start the boost, like at or above that diagonal line I showed you, then you will just Well, that worked, but usually if you're too high, you will just bonk off the side of the ceiling and end up going up left toward that cotton ball off the left of the screen there, only you won't hit it, you'll fall all the way back down. So that's the worst possible outcome. At least you want to get up to this platform, and then there's multiple ways to get up to the top from here. Once you're up here, there's going to be 5 meteors in your way. Usually if you do the proper glide to get up here, if you do the ground cyclone on the underside and you fly all the way up here in one go, you will spawn the first meteor. And you want to jump over this. Like your cyclone as you cancel the cyclone that took you up here, you're going to land about halfway between where Lilac is and where the meteor is about to strike. And then you want to jump immediately over where it's going to strike. And then if you did all that correctly, all the rest of the meteors, let me do this all in one go, just to make sure I have this right. Because I do it all in one go, and I'm not exactly sure how those meteors line up anymore. I just do it automatically. Okay, so you want to jump over the first cluster of meteors, stall slightly if you have to avoid getting hit, and jump and cyclone cancel over the rest. You just don't want to be on the ground when one's hitting the ground. That's all there is. If you have to, if your cyclone in the air has to clash against the meteors and give you a little bit of hit lag, then that's better than getting hit. If you do see a hit incoming in time, you can turn Lilac around and get recoiled forward, just like the damage boost in Relic Maze on the first pickaxe. But that's a backup strategy and not something you'd be relying on, so it's kind of hard to practice. I mean, you can practice it if you want. I would just try to avoid getting hit in the first place. And then you want to drop onto this cliff, this breakable cliff where those 2 petals are, and roll to the end with the boost. And then dive kick as soon as the boost stops. You'll end up in the water down below. Okay, here's the thing about water. If you enter water holding up, right, and jump, you'll immediately pop out. Like you'll do a little skip on the surface of the water. So if you hold up, right, and A here, you can just pop out of the water immediately, do a cyclone cancel, and you're good. The reason this works is because I just did a boost, so my cyclone is not available. If my cyclone was available, I couldn't do this with the water. But because I don't have a cyclone while I'm falling down like that, that's why I can hold upright and A. We considered a way to do a cyclone glide to avoid the water entirely, but nothing so far has worked out because of the lack of a cyclone in the air. There's just, Flatterby found a way to have the cyclone by boosting much earlier. Unfortunately, the only way that can work is by by stalling for meter, which loses time anyway. So you might as well just do this. This is easier, and I think it probably gains time over trying to get the glide. So I'm not even gonna show that. It's a strategy that currently is not worthwhile. This screen, a very good time for this screen, the end of this screen would be 112 or 114. Probably want to shoot for 120 to 125 when you first start out. Once you're on the screen, jump and boost right. Very important for you to be above the platform so that you don't bonk. So if you have to be a little bit higher than I am here, just go ahead and do that. Chance to hit a couple enemies as you boost forward. I didn't hit them there, but it's not a big deal. It's just a small amount of hit lag. Just run over these 2 hills. On the downslope of the second hill, do a jump dive. And you want to do that when the slope has reached its steepest point. You want to do this jump dive at this point when the slope is steepest. Do a jump dive over the edge. Then it's going to be another quarter pipe. This is about as precise as the one in Fortune Night, the first cyclone jump in Fortune Night. And there's 2 backups for this if you don't get enough height. I didn't get enough height there, and you can fall back down on this pad, jump up and boost right. If you make it higher than that pad, you can get onto this floating platform, jump and cyclone cancel and boost right. If you make it all the way to the top, then you can just boost right from here. So there's 2 backup platforms down below you here. Hopefully you won't need them. The cyclone jump is pretty difficult though. This is one of the more difficult cyclone jumps in the game. It's probably the most difficult one to this point to get all the height on. So expect early on to need the backup platforms. They're not that much slower, and it's pretty difficult to get to the top with enough meter to immediately boost. So you know, having to rely on this platform over here is really not much of a time loss. And the thing about these sirens, the pink orbs around them will fly out to the sides when you kill them, and you're probably going to kill this one unless you get lucky and you boost directly under it. But it's not, the orbs are never going to hit you because when you dragon boost, the invincibility of the dragon boost lingers for a little bit after the boost ends. So even though I'm boosting and I was out of the boost for a bit running on the ground, I still had invincibility. There is a spot later in the stage where you actually have to be careful not to kill one of these sirens because the orbs will follow you and interfere. I'll point that out when we get there. You're going to be falling on some red springs here. And it's when you start seeing this foliage behind you that you want to get ready to cyclone. This is the cyclone bounce off these springs takes a feel for where they are. I mean, you can cyclone late, but don't cyclone early. I mean, if you cyclone early, then you just you just kind of get like, you would just hover in the air for a bit and then you'd land on the springs anyway. But as soon as you hit the springs, cyclone upward, that will take you up here. This guy's a jerk. If you're at the wrong speed, he can hit you as you pass him. He just barely missed me there. The secret to getting past him quickly is to approach, like he spawns when you get close enough to him from the left and from below. Usually you have enough height and you're coming from the left rather than below because the spring, you come from further left on the earlier springs. So you want to get past him quickly and down onto the slope as quickly as possible. If you do that, like the ideal cyclone on these springs puts you way over this cliff. And if you do that, you're probably going to take too long to get down the other side and he's going to hit you. Or you can get him to shoot left, I don't know. But there is a chance he can hit you here. And there are ways to avoid it. Mostly you just want to get down onto this slope as quickly as possible after clearing that upper ledge. And it takes timing to know where the cancel is, so that you can avoid some of the height of the cyclones. You don't fly away up into the sky. Then you're going to run down this, dive kick onto this downslope as usual, run around this loop, and then jump off the top of the loop and dive kick. Now there's, this is the, get these sirens out of the way. We're going to be here for a little while because I have to explain how the lake glide works. This is a dive glide that covers, this is probably the longest dive glide in the game. And it's very tight. It's always worth trying though, because the alternative is at least a tie. Probably gains quite a bit of time. So the dive glide here, the lake glide before Nerra, is always worth trying. The only critical mistake you can make is by not jumping before you reach the end of the platform and then you just fall into the water. It's not that much slower than the alternative to doing the dive glide in the first place though. So anyway, what the idea here is that you're dropping out of the ceiling like that and you want to boost. Here's where you're dropping out of the ceiling. And Malexi does a boost as soon as clearing the ceiling. You have to dive kick after that. I'm not sure I can even get back up without a boost. Anyway. You have to dive kick after that, and you have very little time. You have very, very little time to hit the end of the platform. I think you might even have to go left. I really haven't ever tried this. I usually wait longer. If you have trouble with Nerra, there's a shield up here and some health. So anyway, there's the edge of the platform. What I would recommend doing and this is the first instance of the wood shield, which is the shield I have right now. It's the green crystal. This shield makes you immune to poison from the flowers, which are only found in Panga Lagoon and Final Dreadnought 2. And it will draw health petals of health to you from nearby, which is why I was able to pick the ones up from under the floor here. And for every 20 crystals you pick up, it will generate a petal of health. So anyway, what I do for this boost is I drop to here, where this, see the background, the rocks in the background, how they widen here, and there's this knot in the rocks. This is about where I like to boost. It will put you on the plateau where you need to dive glide from, and then there will be 4. See there's bamboo reeds in the background. These are like in the further background, and these are lighter. See how they're lighter shading and they're in the foreground, and they don't parallax scroll at all. There are 4 of these, and you want to dive glide. You want to start the dive glide at about the 4th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See how tight that was? How I just barely landed? And there's not really anything I can say about this, except you know, the four bamboo reeds. Those are your reference point. This takes a lot of practice and judgment of where you are and when you need to jump, because everything's coming on screen so fast. You're not only going left to right really fast, but the ground is appearing beneath you just before you need to dive glide. So, and on top of that, you have to do the glide at a precise moment in your dive kick, like just after the wind-up ends. I don't think it's the apex. I think it's slightly after the apex. I just do it by feel. So just, you know, watch what I'm doing. I'm not going to go back and do it again because we need to move on. But that's just a basic dive glide. It's just very well executed in a very narrow window for a dive glide. And if you don't make it, because you've already used an air cyclone, you can hold, like you're already holding up. Let's see, you jump dive kick, so you're holding down right and you jump and press B in the air to do the dive kick. And then to do the glide, you press A again and then start holding up. So you are already holding up, right, and A, which are the 3 inputs I already mentioned to do a skip out of the water. So if you just hold those for the entire dive glide, if you happen to fall short, you will immediately hop out of the water. You will have lost all your speed, but you will immediately skip out of the water. I'll show you what that looks like. So, bounce, boost. I'm going to be short, so just hold these buttons and it skips me out of the water. Really, really cool. And I even did it there. The dive glide was bad enough. Like, usually I just miss it by pixels and I just get caught on the wall. That one was bad enough that I landed in the water early enough that I missed the edge of the ledge completely and didn't lose any speed, except for the speed that I lost for entering the water at all and for jumping out of the water. I didn't lose any speed on the wall. Now we're at the mini-boss, Nerra. Nerra should remind you a little bit of Spade because, well, first of all, she's a humanoid mini-boss. She's a panda, just like Spade. Her movement seems erratic at first, but unlike Spade, Nerra's movement is not based on yours. She follows the same pattern. The only thing of her movement that is based on you in any way is your position relative to her. And that's just which side of her you are on. If you're on her left, she will jump over you. Let's see. She'll jump toward you. So she'll jump over you. I think in some circumstances she'll jump backward. Anyway, it's not really going to be important because we're going to kill her before she has a chance to really jump anywhere. When you first enter the battle, she's going to do a shower of ice, and she'll do the shower of ice again every time every time you've damaged her to the point where she cries out, just like Spade or Serpentine. Let's see. You could do a high uppercut, but you already have meter when you're falling in the air. Like I'm bouncing off the springs to the left because I didn't come from above. If you were coming from above the loop and you just exited the ceiling, then you'd be falling to the point where I said, instead of bouncing up there. So that's why I just use the springs because they're convenient. They're convenient for practice because of where the checkpoint is, not because that's what you'd actually be doing in an attempt. In an attempt, you'd be falling out of the ceiling. So anyway, back to Nerra. Nerra, when you start the fight, she does an ice shower, and every time you hit her to the point where she cries out, she does another ice shower. If she lands after the ice shower, and you let her stand there for a brief second, she will put up a shield. What you want to do is kill her before she has a chance to put up any shields, and this involves damaging her enough as she's doing the ice shower to knock her into another ice shower before she puts up a shield. It's really easy to screw up. The timing is pretty tight. You have very little time before after she lands, before she puts up a shield. So you want to do most of the damage in the air. So when you first start in, you see these little, there's a bamboo reed dividing this arena in two. And there's these little tufts of grass on the ground. There's one large tuft to the right of the bamboo, and that is where the trigger for her to spawn is. You want to walk to that and stand there. She will drop ice right above you. See the ice coming down right above me? You want to jump in the air as soon as the ice is about to hit the ground and land on the left side. The ice will disintegrate as you're in the air, and you'll land safely on the left side of Nerra and do 2 kicks. It's too slow because coming out of pause. Spawn her. Like that. You want to jump over where the ice is spawning, so you're on the left side. The ice makes a little spread on the ground, and in the middle of that spread is an ice shard that will linger the longest. Like here, I'll try to show you what that looks like. You may have already seen it. Okay, as the ice is coming down, see the one that's directly underneath me has like 6 or 7 ice shards in it. See how the middle one is lingering the longest? You want to jump so that you're on the other side of that. You land on the left side of that. And if you did Sky Battalion well, you will have a metal shield through the first half of this stage in a full run attempt. So if you're doing a full run and you come through this stage with a metal shield, it will help immensely with the start of Nerra because you will not be able to get hit stunned by that ice at all. You do not need to worry about it. I would still jump to try to preserve the shield, but you don't have to worry about how you land. So as soon as you kicked her twice when you land, she will do another ice shower. If you happen to fall in the water, your meter should fill. Your meter should fill about halfway through the water, and then you just boost right, and you'll be at the right position to reach her room with just the boost. Okay, so jumping over the ice shard in the middle. You want to kick her again you want to kick her again after she recoils, and then jump to follow her. She'll jump left here. Cyclone in the air. As soon as you're up to her height, kick. And it should cause her to cry out again. Now she's going to do another ice shower, do the same thing. Kick when you land, follow her in the air, cyclone up to her when you're at her level, kick. I'll just pausing, of course. I can't hold it together. If you're having trouble with Nerra, you can also pick up that wood shield to absorb the first hit. But it probably costs about as much time. So cyclone, kick, kick, cyclone, kick, kick. You can kick again once on the ground if you have to, if you didn't deal enough damage. Follow her and kick again. When she takes, I think, 4 hits. Let me just double check this, that it's actually 4. But on the last hit, when you land on her, you can just boost to the right, provided you dealt enough damage. Jump over the ice, kick, 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 cyclone, kick, kick, cyclone, kick, 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 cyclone, kick. Yep, it's 4 hits, and then on the 4th hit you want to land on her head with a boost. Should be pretty easy to predict where she's going to be. This fight is hard. If she happens to get a shield up, you just want to follow her around. She'll just jump left and right. And just follow her around. Be aware that whenever she lands, she's going to toss a ring out in front of her. Like straight out in front of her at 0-degree angle. Just flat trajectory for the ring. And it will bounce off the wall. Just try to get behind her. On normal mode, she won't turn around. On hard mode, if you go behind her, she will turn around and shoot at you instead. But if you're on normal mode, you can go behind her and she'll shoot a ring the way she was facing initially. And you need 3 kicks on the shield, and then keep kicking her. You're probably already close to causing her to cry out. Then you kind of have to adapt since you're no longer in the center pattern. So follow the way she jumps up in the air. Can't really describe too much about this fight other than this. It really just takes practice with what I've already described. There aren't really many backups to this. Kicks are king. Cyclone is necessary to get you up in the air high enough to reach her while she's doing an ice shower. And that's really just it. Nerra is a demanding, punishing boss, but she's very simple. The pattern is simple. It's just difficult to execute. Part of that is because sometimes she bounces into the ice shards when you make her cry out, and you can't get that kick on the ground. What I would do in that situation when you're doing the cyclone up to her, try to start kicking early and get in 2 or 3 kicks in the air instead of just 1. Anyway, we're moving on. Boosting to the right. There's a couple ways you can handle the end of this screen. The first one, the fastest one, is by doing another jump glide, and then you have to jump on top of this frog, or actually under the frog. I haven't worked out, this is very new to me. This strat was found recently, and I haven't worked out the route to it yet. So all I can tell you is that dive glide will save you some time because it avoids having to get stuck on that quarter pipe, which I'll show you in a moment. But I don't have it worked out how you should do the rest of the stage. Essentially what you should be doing is get up the ladder, go to the right, and you probably want to roll boost about from this center stripe. See on the surface of the submarine, and there's the 2 cannons, and then between them there's a crack. There's 4 bolts. It's between the 2nd and 3rd bolt. There's a crack. Start boosting on that. And aim upright, not down. And then dive kick like you would normally in the air. If you're at the right cycle, you will land on this downslope. But if the water is too high, or actually, it's not actually the water in this section, it is the subs that are moving up and down. In the next screen, it is the water that is moving up and down. But here it's the subs, which creates some, unfortunately, bizarre interactions with the platforms and the ladder. And if the subs are traveling upward, Lilac will have a lot of trouble jumping. Like you see here how the water's going up. If the water's going down, the subs are actually going up, so Lilac's jump is pretty weak. If the sub is going down, Lilac's jump is stronger. And that's a factor here, so it's one of the reasons I haven't really come up with a good route here so far. But the idea is to get that boost on the upper platform here, to get over the highest platform, dive kick down the other side, and land on the downslope. The alternative to the dive glide earlier is a jump dive there. Let's try this again. Is a jump dive here, and then just a slope jump up that quarter pipe. If the subs happen to be going up when you do that, it can be extremely difficult to reach the top. You may need a cyclone cancel. Even that might not be enough to reach this ledge right here. But either way, since you haven't used a dive glide, so you haven't used a cyclone, you have meter here. So once you've jumped up here, do a roll boost down this slope, followed by a dive kick. Now you want to do another jump dive. Like here, it would be as soon as you land. Essentially, it needs to be you need to be jump diving at about the seam between the walkway and the submarine. And ideally, that should put you on the ground, like here, just before this guardrail ends, and you can go right and kick these crates. Because you just boosted to get up here, your meter is weak, so you need to kick these crates to get some crystals, and then jump and boost against the side of the sub off the ground a bit. And again, I didn't hit that. I'd like to show you what that looks like. It should be easy to figure out what that should look like. Anyway, you will get full downslope running speed if you happen to hit that slope when the water is not covering it. So on this screen, the water could be high, in which case you want to swim up, jump out of the water, and grab the ladder. If it's low, then you can just jump from the ground and grab the ladder with a cyclone cancel. Like that. Either way, you want to do like a couple jump grabs up this ladder. I don't usually, because this ladder's, I don't know, I just find it more difficult for some reason on this ladder. But you can do jump grabs there. This is the siren I mentioned earlier that you want to boost over top of. Make sure you're above her head when you boost. And the reason for this is because if you kill her, the orbs around her will fly out to the sides, and the ones that travel right will interfere with your movement. You want to jump over her and boost here. Make sure you clear the head. And then as soon as you land, do a jump dive. And then as soon as you start to see platforms, do a cyclone cancel, which will land you down here. And hopefully you won't hit any of the bombs or anything. And then run forward, do a quick cyclone cancel up and around the corner. Make sure on this cyclone cancel you don't jump until the cyclone is completely canceled, or your jump may be crippled by the cyclone a little bit. You want to have enough jump to reach up here, and then do a jump with a cyclone cancel at the end here. And at the end of the cyclone cancel, do a boost right. You're going to fall on a submarine section that is in the air. Right here. You want to do a double dive at the end of this. Remember, a double dive is when you do two dive kick motions, one after another. One to get in the air, and the other when you're in the air, which will do a down cyclone followed by another dive kick. And you want to do this from the end of the flat of this submarine. Make sure you do not run off onto the slope at the end of this submarine. So you want to do it about there. You want to do a double dive, and you will land on this other submarine. So again, that is just holding forward and right, and then pressing AB, AB, AB in the air. That's how you do a double dive. Probably going to get hit here. This is the section that we call the submarine dash. There's a few ways to do this. I'm going to go over the easiest way. I will mention the more difficult way, the one that loses less frames but is much more difficult to do. This is an important thing to practice. So if you want to practice this over and over, you don't have to go back to the platform where you started this. Normally you would jump, cyclone, cancel, and boost right from here. Instead, you can just jump from the left side of this platform where the 3 mines are. Double dive. Okay. And then, just before I describe how to do this, let me describe how to practice it over and over. If you don't want to spend a lot of lives here, or if you make a mistake early and you don't want to hit restart, and because restart puts you underwater, it puts you down below here and you have to climb back up. So it can be better, it can be faster for you to just reset this trick by walking left. And you want to go to the last section and just do a roll boost at the end. And you should have about full meter by the time you get back to where you need to be. If you fall down below, this is where the checkpoint is. This is the checkpoint spot right here, and you would need to go up here and then up here. And if the water level is low, you have to do high uppercuts to reach all that, or use the spring, so it's a little more cumbersome. Anyway, now how to do the trick. First, we're doing the double dive. You're holding forward and down at this point because you just did a dive kick. And as you're approaching a hole, press B to do a ground cyclone, then up, and then switch from down to up, so you're pressing upright, and then press B as you're over the edge of the hole to cancel the cyclone, because you don't want to keep going. You can't keep a cyclone going through all of this, and it will hit the frogs as you try to go underneath them and hit stun you. So you want to get a ground cyclone going by pressing down and B, and then up and B after you cross a hole. So down B, up B, down B, up B, repeatedly. Down B, up B. Let me just die so I have health for this. So here's the spawn point. High uppercut. Double dive. A little bit too early on that double dive. Down B, up B, down B, up B. It's easy to lose speed. If you connect with anything, or if you stop holding right, you will lose speed here. And you may have noticed I just did a dive kick over one of them. That's the harder method. If you are able to time a dive kick just after you run over the gap for each of these little holes, you will, just like in other stages, you'll use the wind-up of the dive kick to keep your inertia over the other side without falling. So the dive kick, even though dive kick will send you downward, the wind-up of the dive kick just keeps you going forward instead of dropping. So that's also possible. And because you're using a dive kick instead of a cyclone, which has a much larger hitbox, and the cyclone has to spend longer active, you will not hit any enemies during this, if you happen to do it with the dive kicks. But the dive kicks are much harder. So jump dive, cyclone cancel, cyclone cancel, cyclone cancel. At the end of this, you cyclone and then cancel across 4 gaps. After the 4th gap, when you get under the last frog, you want to jump dive onto this platform. Then you want to jump dive over the second half of it. I hit part of the leading slope there. But if you do that correctly, and it's kind of hard to show because I got to chain all these things together. if you do it correctly at the very last moment, you will land, like if the water cycle is low because you've come through at the right time, you've been fast enough, and you dive kick, you will land on these boxes, and then you can dive glide all the way from the top of those boxes to here. It's very difficult. I have never tried it before. It's a very new strategy. If you're not comfortable with that, you can just do the jump dive from the end of the submarine dash, jump dive from the top of the platform in the air, and then you'll land here. And if you don't have meter, you can kick these things, but you want to jump to the right and boost, which will land you over here. So let me try just once or twice more to get that dive glide I was talking about. If not, it'll be in a later video, hopefully. Okay, it was a little bit slow, but you get the idea. I got that the first time I tried it in just a random stage attempt as well. So anyway, that's much more of an advanced strategy to get that. You want to land on those crates and then dive kick and glide from them all the way over to the sub. But you can just go like this and then do a jump dive to leave the screen instead of running down the sub. Okay, so last screen. You'll be running right here with your meter charging. If you did the boost. If you did the dive glide, you'll already have meter here, so you can boost as soon as you enter the screen. But if you did the boost to get to the last sub-platform, then you're going to need to run right here. And your boost meter will fill as you drop off this ledge to get to the grass. I recommend waiting until you've just hit the ground and then do a roll boost. And then as soon as you hit the water, you want to hold jump left and up to skip out of the water to the left. And then you want to go down in the water, kind of halfway down. And kind of gauge the timing of these blocks to open so that you're just under the surface of the water when they pop, so that you will get a high jump like that out of the water to the right. So you want to have some water to go up through before you reach the surface as the blocks break. And then you want to boost near the ceiling. You want to, if you don't trust your position here to reach the shore on the right, then you should do a cyclone cancel. That will correct it. So just to the right. If you don't think you're going to reach that shore, do a cyclone cancel before you boost. And then there'll be an upslope here. You want to jump from near the top of it and do a long cyclone cancel to get onto this flower. As soon as Lilac picks up the first crystal here, you can jump and cyclone cancel onto the spring and then cyclone off the spring. You want to cancel near the top here. You don't want to lose any height. You can go too high. You can go higher if you want. And then jump dive onto this downslope coming up. From the flat below that downslope, do a jump into a cyclone cancel and then a boost, which will carry you to the other side. You can also do this. It is slightly faster to do it with a jump dive rather than just a regular jump. You get a little more distance, you maintain more of your speed, but it's much more precise because you have to actually get the jump dive from the flat between the downslopes. I like faster to leave the screen by jump diving off the last slope rather than before it, right? If you do the dive glide or you do a boost, you're probably traveling near max speed anyway. You could maybe save frames like that, but you run the risk of losing much more than frames if you happen to be late with it, I guess. I don't really ever do it. I'm sure it's very slightly faster, but I haven't bothered with it. Anyway, so you do the boost here, and then you land where these dandelions are. You're going to run off this platform and then do a jump dive as soon as you land below. And this will put you over this orange spring onto a steep upslope. Make sure you run on that upslope briefly before doing the slope jump upward. Then you want to do a cyclone into a dive kick. So you're canceling the cyclone with a dive kick instead of a regular kick this time. Onto this downslope. You can jump from one of these downslopes if you want a little more instant speed, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. You're going to go down through a whole bunch of these, and then you will hit some water. Shortly after the water, there will be a very steep upslope with a wall. You can cyclone jump off of this. And there's 3 floating platforms here. After you have passed the... I think you can do this between the first and second ones. I would wait until you've at least reached the level of the second one before canceling and doing a boost. And then dive kick over the top. So, see there I was level with the second platform. You could be a little lower than that. It's possible to catch the water shield on that lower platform by doing the boost. It's not something I would count on. You do not need the water shield for this boss. And you run the risk, like if you're trying to catch this crystal with the boost, you run the risk of doing this. So I would just try to be a little bit higher than you need to be. For starters, I still don't go for this crystal. It's not really worth it to me yet. And it could help on the boss. It's not crucial. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so this is the second encounter with Serpentine, followed by the attack chopper. So first I'll talk about the Serpentine fight. Serpentine acts mostly like he does in Fortune Knight, but there is a much easier fast kill to this guy. You do not have the advantage of being able to bounce off the laser. There is a wall nearby, but unfortunately Serpentine's movement just does not facilitate using the wall the way we use the laser. We have not been able to find a way to repeatedly bounce off that wall and keep hitting him. For one thing, the wall doesn't hurt him like the laser does. He doesn't bounce as far away from it, and he tends to dash left away from the wall instead of running back past you next to the wall. So it's just, the wall is not convenient at all for this. Instead, I use a very specific kill pattern. Malexa uses a different one, and I don't know what his pattern is. So I'm only going to be describing mine. I think his might be slightly faster usually, like maybe a half a second, but it is, and it could be a little more than a half a second, but it is more difficult in my opinion. Mine is very easy to do. You just have to keep in mind what you're doing. So first thing you're going to do is run all the way to the right wall and then turn around. As soon as you tag the right wall, turn around, run to him and kick him. He's going to be coming in from the left. Run back to the wall, turn around about a lilac width away from the wall, and kick him as he goes past, then kick right twice. And then, well, I guess you're kicking right 3 times, and then you're kicking left as he passes again. He's going to do a flamethrower here, and you want to kick him to stop the flamethrower. Whether you have the shield or not, you should be able to do this. I did it with an uppercut. You're not supposed to do that. Then he'll dash toward you again. I need to start this over so you can see how this actually should go. I'll use the shield just to make sure this goes off correctly, so that I can illustrate what should happen. So to the right wall, tag it, walk away, kick him as he approaches. Kick, 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 kick as he approaches. Again, you should be able to get the kick, whether you're shielded or not, you should be able to get that through his flamethrower. If you don't have the shield, you will take damage, but it's not an issue. Then he will start to rush you. You need to get your bearings and roll, like as he passes you, you need to roll boost. You need to roll to the left and then boost to the right. Like that. So you're pressing left while you boost, then you're pressing right just before the boost goes off, so you boost to the right. That will catch him in the boost entirely. If you just roll to the right, or you boost from a standstill, he will bounce left. So that gets an entire hit on him. Then you want to kick him as he passes again. This is a point where he's going to do a bullet rain every time. It is possible, however very inconsistent, to cancel that bullet rain by dealing enough damage to him before he stands still and starts it. We don't have a consistent setup for this, so this bullet rain is going to be a time loss, and this is the advantage Malexi's method has over mine. I can cancel this sometimes and tie his method, but I think he avoids the bullet rain almost every single time. Serpentine is just invincible during this, but as he pulls the shield down, you're going to kick him twice. He'll recoil. You want to walk over toward the wall, turn around, kick him as he passes, just like before, and then you're going to roll boost to the left and catch him to the right. And then you'll see the petals come out. That indicates the boss fight is done. So, to recap, the entire boss fight in order. This may seem like a lot, but if you practice each step individually, you should be able to get the hang of it pretty fast. It's not a hard boss fight. Tag the wall, run left kick. Let me do that without an uppercut. Like I said, my controller has really sensitive diagonals. I think I mentioned that in an earlier video. Something I have to be careful of. Run back kick. Roll boost. Kick as he passes. Didn't get the cancel. And I forgot to boost there. That would have been the end of the kill. But you're going to be seeing that every time I have to restart the chopper fight, so I'll just move on.
I've got you now.
Okay, he's going to drop the petals. If you happen to be at full health here, you can pick them up to boost your meter a little bit. Otherwise, just wait for your meter to be almost full, then do a high uppercut against the wall. Remember how we talked about brain damage strats in Sky Battalion 3rd mini-boss in the Earthship? This is brain damage part 2. It begins with a high uppercut to get as much height as possible. Then you're going to ram the wall and hold A while you ram the wall. And then you're going to get enough height out of that to do a dive kick through the cockpit of the chopper, like this. So you do a high uppercut, boost around the wall while holding A, then you do a dive kick through the cockpit, then you do a cyclone, and if you have full meter here, you can boost to the right. I do not, but if I do it again, maybe I will. You just want to, like, you're going to be like, the ideal pattern would be to uppercut, ram the wall, do a dive kick through the cockpit, cyclone up, kick to cancel the cyclone, and in that process also kick the cockpit. Boost as you're falling back through him, so you hit the cockpit with a full boost, ram the wall again, kick him after you ricochet off the wall, and either kick him again or do a dive kick through him if you happen to have enough height. So it's uppercut, ram the wall, dive kick, cyclone, kick, boost the wall, kick, dive kick, or kick. So it's a long string of moves. This looks really cool if you get it all off, though. And okay, the thing is, the chopper is really high up right now, and that's why we need the brain damage to reach it. It's possible to get him down from there with 2 uppercut brain damage strats in a row. I think it's very barely possible to get him down in just one if you get a very good boost. He will come down if you deal enough damage to him, or if you wait long enough, or if you kill the Shade Troopers he dropped. Those are the 3 conditions. So killing the Shade Troopers is obviously out of the question. Those are a side enemy. They are not the goal. We do not want to spend time killing them. They're not going to be in our way. I mean, okay, they're going to interfere a little bit if we make mistakes, but ideally, they should never hit us, okay? The other option I mentioned is to wait, and since we're in a speedrun, waiting is not an option. We just want to be constantly dealing damage as much as possible, and all this damage counts towards the kill anyway. So the third option, damage him enough and he'll come down, is the one we're going for. So you should be shooting for 2 high uppercuts if possible. You might have to do 3, especially when starting out learning. So I'll do, I think I just did 2 and now I have to do a third one. So I just finished dealing enough damage to him. Now he is descending. I'm just going to let the dive kick continue. There's no point in really trying to kick or cyclone here. Just get back to the ground, directly below the cockpit, and start doing high uppercut, dive kick, cyclone, kick, kick. High uppercut, dive kick, high uppercut, dive kick, cyclone, kick, kick. And throw a boost to the right in there whenever you have enough meter coming down through the boss. So you want to just uppercut, then dive kick through him, cyclone, kick, and then boost. Or if you don't have enough meter, just kick again and get back to the ground so you can uppercut again. This is a boss that you can restart on as long as you restart before Carol comes in for the killing blow. Here comes Carol. If she hits the cockpit, I have to end the stage. But because she hasn't hit the cockpit yet, I can restart. Do it without the shield this time. So, Serpentine kill. I love this boss because there's so much move combination stuff you do to get as much damage in as possible, and it looks really cool if you do it right. Okay. Got a little bit of a boost off there. Might get him down in 2. Nope. You don't want to... I just did it by accident, but you really do not want to get a diagonal boost here. That wastes all of your meter. You want to ram the wall because that will stop your meter draining. So I just got him to descend. I'll do the uppercut, dive kick, cyclone kick, cyclone kick boost, or kick strategy. So you should be getting kind of the idea. Excuse me, kind of the idea. I'll show it once or twice more. This is really fun to practice too.
I've got you now.
Took me 3 to get him down. And there's a thing called a murder boost. This is what we've ended up calling it. You can get... It's not really that easy to manipulate this to happen, and I can't really describe to you how to do it because I don't know how to do it. It just happens sometimes. Is if you start a boost on the cockpit and he's starting to move in your direction as the boost fires, then his cockpit will follow you all the way through the boost, and you will get this very long, very damaging boost all the way through him. It may be possible, after you've made him descend, to kill him without ever touching the ground. And part of that is because the ground chaser bullets that he's shooting out of the turrets on either side of the chopper, the ones that hit the ground and then travel along the ground, it's possible to bounce off of those. If you land on one, especially if you have a shield and you don't take damage from it. But whether or not you, like, if he does it, well, if in his current position where he's got one of his turrets inside the wall, the chaser bullet will stop dead. It won't descend at all and will come across through the air. And if we were making a TAS, which we're currently not able to, but if we were making a TAS, probably the strategy would be to time a bounce off of that bullet in the air and just keep hitting the cockpit without ever touching the ground. With a murder boost, it should be possible to kill him entirely after he's descended in just 2 uppercuts. Maybe 1. 1 is a little far-fetched. So in total, you should need 2 uppercuts for the brain damage and 2 from the ground to kill this guy. And it's possible to kill him with just 2 uppercuts without getting the murder boost. It's just really difficult. So that's really all I can say about this guy. There are backup strats for Serpentine when he's on the ground. You saw some of them when I did the kill just there, and I made a few mistakes. Generally, it's just to kick him as he's passing you. Like with the first when he does the flamethrower the first time, and I said you have to clash the flamethrower with your kick, so you kick him through the flamethrower. If you happen to miss that kick, just turn around. He'll have jumped over you and kick him again, and then do the roll boost as you normally would. Just roll to the left, boost to the right as he runs through you. It works the same as if he's coming from the right as if he were coming from the left, so it's not really a big deal there. Just add kicks here and there if you have to. Each of the individual strategies for Serpentine, they work throughout the fight as long as the position fits the position that move would normally be used at in the regular kill. So if you can recognize the pattern, then you could make up something pretty easily based on where he's moving and how much meter you have, without, like, as soon as you go off the rails, just make something up, and it probably won't waste that much time. So that's really all there is to Jade Creek. I'm going to go through the stage once more just to show everything and recap. This stage has so many cool tricks, though. I mean, the speed underwater is incredible. The upward dive kicks on the first screen to get out of the water are incredible. The ceiling runs and the bubble rides that can happen, and that one ceiling run with the ground cycle that makes you fly straight up into the air, that one's really cool. Just all the stage is so conducive to going fast and looking great while you do it. The fact that the glide over the lake, this stage has the longest dive glide in the game, which is my favorite move. The Nerra fight is fun, even though it's difficult. It's fun to do if you do it correctly. It looks really cool. The submarine dash looks cool. Hitting the water cycle at the end of Nerra's screen, if you happen to hit that looks amazing. And all the climbing and running up and down slopes on the last screen looks great. And the boss fight is one of the best in the game, maybe the best boss fight in the game. I don't know. Final Brevin is pretty cool too. But this is such a cool boss. So anyway, let's go back through the stage. I'm not going to really stop any. I'm just going to go through it, make note of tricks, important tricks. So the first thing we've got is the water cycle. A up to get through that. Jump dive. Drop into the water under the frog. Roll boost out the other side. Down. Okay, that was a little bit slow, so I have to take the steps a little bit slower. Ah! See the irregular terrain there, kind of interfering with me. Hold C while moving right. Aim it upward. Dive to the right, turn left. Jump from first down slope, do the switchbacks. Jump and dive into the water. Go under the sub. Uppercut out of the water. Jump out to the fourth crystal, go neutral. Dive kick with no speed onto that down slope. Start holding left here. Get a bubble ride if you can. If not, just get to that breakable floor. Jump dive at the small. Stalagmite. Ceiling run. Whoops. Okay, I barely made that. Roll boost off this breakable cliff. Do the trick to skip out of the water. Jump dive, jump dive. Whoops. Got no speed there, so let's just ride these up. Oops. Okay, this is going to be slow. I did poorly and now I am punished. Like I said, that cyclone jump is hard. I just wasn't set up for it at all in the first place, though. Dive glide. Gonna be a little short, just keep holding up an A. Jump over the ice. 3 kicks. Ah! She hadn't quite cried out, so I got stuck on the wall there. I might get it here. There we go. That is the water cycle right there. Since the water's high here, I can use it to get to the ladder. Get back some of the time I lost. Submarine dash incoming, so jump, cyclone, cancel. Do double dive here. Just the easy strat there. Jump dive out of the other side. Got a pretty okay time going here. Skip out of the water, go down. Make sure to hit the shore. Easy strat here. Jump dive, run up the slope a little bit, and then do... Okay, cyclone jump, followed by boost. And we're at the boss at 308. Like, all kinds of acrobatics flying about the stage. Okay. Nah, that wasn't a very good timing. Nice. Got him in 2. That kind of a mini murder boost there. And that was in 3, so that was pretty close to a very good kill. 348. My best time is a 331. I would shoot for about 420, just like Relic Maze. However, I would say that getting under 4 minutes in this stage is much easier than Relic Maze. And the fact that this stage is so much fun to practice makes it easier as well. So yeah, shoot for 420 at first, and then 4 minutes once you get past that. I'm pretty sure like a 320 is possible. Like, this stage is as fast as Fortune Knight. So yeah, have a lot of fun with this stage, man. You're gonna get hooked on this one. I love practicing this stage. It's probably the next one I'm going to work on attempts for after I finish with Fortune Knight. And enjoy the game, as always. This is the end of this tutorial. See you in Thermal Base.